Welcome to our insightful YouTube video on missions and colonialism. In this thought-provoking discussion, we delve into how Christian missions intertwined with colonial expansion, shaping indigenous cultures and societies worldwide. If you find this topic as intriguing as we do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more enlightening content. We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd love to hear your perspective on the complex relationship between missions, colonialism, and the global spread of Christianity. Missions and colonialism, Christianity's dual role in global expansion. The intersection of Christian missions and colonialism marks a complex chapter in world history, characterized by both positive and negative impacts on indigenous cultures and societies. Christian missions, driven by religious fervor and a desire to spread the faith, often became intertwined with colonial endeavors. This amalgamation had far-reaching consequences, reshaping the cultural, social, and religious landscapes of numerous regions across the globe. Historical context: the confluence of missions and colonialism. The age of exploration and subsequent colonial expansion by European powers provided the backdrop for the proliferation of Christian missions. As explorers and colonizers ventured into new lands, they often brought with them religious missionaries who sought to convert the indigenous populations to Christianity. This convergence of religious zeal and imperial ambitions led to a complex interplay between faith and power dynamics. Spread of Christianity, the missionary zeal. Christian missions were driven by the Great Commission, a biblical mandate to go and make disciples of all nations. Missionaries believed that spreading Christianity was a divine duty, and they saw themselves as agents of salvation, tasked with bringing spiritual enlightenment to heathen lands. Missionaries worked tirelessly to translate the Bible, establish schools, hospitals, and churches, and educate the local populations about Western culture and Christian values. Cultural impact, conversion and assimilation. The spread of Christianity often entailed the conversion of indigenous peoples, a process that had profound cultural implications. Traditional beliefs, practices, and rituals were challenged, leading to a clash between native worldviews and the new religious paradigm. Some indigenous cultures experienced a syncretism of their beliefs with Christian elements, creating unique hybrid identities. In other cases, however, conversion led to the erosion of indigenous languages, customs, and traditions, as missionaries deemed them incompatible with Christian teachings. Social dynamics, power imbalances and control. Missions operated within colonial contexts, where European powers held significant control over both political and religious matters. This power imbalance had implications for indigenous societies. Missionaries often served as intermediaries between the colonial rulers and local populations, exerting influence over governance, education, and social structures. This dynamic, while providing opportunities for indigenous communities to adapt to changing circumstances, could also perpetuate subjugation and cultural subordination. Positive contributions: education, healthcare, and social services. It is important to acknowledge that Christian missions brought about positive changes in many places. Missionaries established schools, clinics, and orphanages, contributing to education, healthcare, and social welfare in regions that lacked these services. They introduced agricultural techniques, literacy, and vocational skills that empowered local communities. These initiatives, while driven by religious motives, often had tangible benefits for indigenous people. Negative consequences: cultural erosion and exploitation. However, the historical record also reveals instances of cultural erosion, exploitation, and even violence. Missionaries were not immune to biases and ethnocentrism, often regarding indigenous cultures as inferior or pagan. Forced conversions, destruction of sacred sites, and suppression of native languages were not uncommon. The introduction of European diseases had devastating effects on indigenous populations, further complicating the relationship between Christian missions and colonialism. Legacy and reflection: reckoning with the past. The legacy of Christian missions within the context of colonialism remains a topic of reflection, debate, and reconciliation. Modern perspectives emphasize the need to acknowledge the harm caused by cultural insensitivity, forced assimilation, and the perpetuation of colonial power structures. Efforts to reconcile this history often involve acknowledging the negative impacts, fostering dialogue between descendant communities, and supporting indigenous-led initiatives to preserve cultural heritage and autonomy. Conclusion: a complex narrative of impact. The interplay between Christian missions and colonialism reveals a multifaceted narrative that encompasses both commendable endeavors and deeply troubling consequences. While Christian missions brought education, healthcare, and elements of modernization to indigenous communities, they were also implicated in cultural erasure and power imbalances. Understanding this historical chapter requires a nuanced examination of the motivations, actions, and lasting effects of these intertwined forces on the global stage. The lessons learned from this complex history contribute to ongoing discussions about the intersection of faith, power, and cultural identity in our increasingly interconnected world. Thanks for watching.